Hello and welcome to the Unfazed Podcast. I'm Ben.
I'm Emmett.
And today we are joined by a very special guest, my friend Paul Kary.
What's going on?
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
So
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I was trying to think, how many guests have we had on the podcast? Not that many. We did our very first one's Franz Ferdinand. Yeah. Which was technically... I think the podcast did exist, but it was kind
just
of
an
an
audio
interview.
podcast, yeah.
And then Julian Shaw Taylor from Strangelove. We did What's His Face from the Meat Puppets.
Right.
We interviewed him too. And then we did Warhammer. And now Paul Kary.
Nice.
So you're technically...
Number 5?
I believe you're number 5.
Cool.
Yeah, it's number 5. I'm going to pause real quick because this thing is tilting like a monkey. So yeah, man, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's
Paul
great.
and I met through work, working for a nondescript bike company.
Yeah.
Yes, and you told me that you had a YouTube channel.
Oh, do you?
So do a little shameless promotion.
So this
here.
YouTube channel, it's just my name, Paul Kary, but it's hasn't been active for 3 years. Ben's always been like, hey, you need to post more. Hopefully in this next year, I want to get back into that. So he's like, hey, let's have you on the podcast. Let's get you motivated to post a little bit more. So I'm like, sweet, let's try to do it.
Which is exciting.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's exciting.
So I'll have links below. Make sure you subscribe to Paul's channel. Check it out. And the reason I really wanted to have you on the podcast is because you're not going to be with us in the state or the country much longer.
True. Yeah.
So kind of give us a little info on what's going on.
Yeah, so me and my wife, we are going to be missionaries to Kenya in Africa. So we're excited to leave in the next 2 months to head out there. And,
It's amazing.
Saturday we're leaving for Arkansas. We're going to visit some family and do some more support raising there. And then from there we'll hopefully go to Kenya in the next 2 months. So yeah, just to live life there. And
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call this podcast the Paul Kary Out of Africa podcast.
Perfect.
Maybe not in that order, but Out of Africa.
Into Africa.
Into Africa.
Yeah.
Yes. So shout out to Kenya. But so you spent some time in Kenya. Tell us about that previously, because you've already been over there.
Right. So with our, so I went to school at Bethany Global University. It's up in Minnesota. The program's kind of cool because you do 2 years in Minnesota, learning about Bible theology, different cultures, and then part of the program is you do 16 months overseas. And so I chose to go to Kenya. Got to learn Swahili a little bit. Got to learn about the culture there.
Can you throw out a little Swahili for us?
Yeah, habari yako unafanya nini?
Whoa! What does that mean?
Ninataka kucheza chukula.
Whoa!
How are you doing? What are you doing? And I like to eat. So
Nice.
just a couple random phrases.
Say kula. That sounds like culo, which is like ass in
to eat.
Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kula is eat and chukula is food. So
Wow.
Yeah. To eat ass would be kula.
There you go. Kula. Yes. But that's it kind of sounds like a little bit of a Star Wars language. It's a little bit of a
a little bit like Java
cool.
or something.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So why did you pick Kenya? What about it?
So our school has 10 options you can pick from. There's Thailand, China, Ghana, France.
Okay.
And Kenya just seemed cool because I'm well, honestly, I'm going to learn something wherever I go.
Yeah.
16 months, it's not the rest of my life. So
Wow.
originally I was going to Thailand, and then they asked me because they needed a couple more guys on the Kenya team, hey, can you switch to Kenya? I was like, sure.
Switch to Kenya,
I don't
willy-nilly.
care.
Yeah.
I don't care where I go.
That's cool,
I'm going to do
man.
the same program anywhere I go. So yeah.
Do you feel like growing up in Arizona trained you appropriately for the temperature?
A little bit, yeah. So we're right on the equator, so it's 90, 95 year round. And the sun goes down at 6:30 every night. We don't have those long summers or anything.
Right, it's always the same.
It's always the same, usually. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
Yeah. So
what was actually going to Kenya, being there for 16 months, just off the top of your head, no particular order, what was the best, let's say the best 2 things and the worst 2 things?
Yeah. Worst 2 things, probably one is some of the food they eat, goat stomachs, kind of rough. Intestines.
Emmett loves goat stomach.
I love goat stomach.
Yeah, those things are a little bit rough. So food be one thing, and sometimes the living conditions can be rough. We don't have any air conditioning in the house that we live in.
Dang.
So it's the windows are open, so it's you can let the cool air blow through at night.
Can you bring area fans and swap
yeah,
coolers?
exactly.
Okay, cool.
You have big fans, kind of like this one, but bigger and stronger, so it blows
big,
a nice breeze in.
Yeah.
So it's doable.
Yeah.
But it's not comfortable all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's rainy seasons, so you get that nice rain like air.
It's a human though, right?
Yeah. So we're like right by a river. So it's like desert, and then there's like a little streak of green going through the like region that we're going to be in.
Do you drink from the river and boil it, or is it not that primitive?
We drink from the river, but we filter it, like charcoal filter.
Okay.
Brita filter.
Yeah, like a Brita filter, basically.
Nice,
Yeah, like a little high tech
Dump your
one.
bread in the river and then...
Well, they pump the water to your house.
Okay.
It's like we have like plumbing, but technically, basically, the river's right there, and they like have giant pumps that are pumping the water into the city.
That's
interesting.
Cool. Wow.
So the water is brown when it comes out of the river,
Ooh.
and then you filter it, and then it's nice.
Wow.
You drink it, whatever.
Sorry, so do you have to filter it manually, or do they do that before they...
No, you have to. So I'm getting it from the tap. It's coming out brown. I pour it in my filter.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's disgusting, but also
Yeah,
wonderful.
it's cool that we can do that.
Wow.
You know, like you've heard of Life Straw. It's like,
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but like
Life
on a
Straw.
bigger.
Yeah. That stuff's always cool in theory, but like I feel like if it came down to it, I wouldn't fully trust it.
Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna have to die before
Yeah.
I use this straw to drink out of this river.
Yeah.
As Emmett knows, and I'm sure a lot of the audience knows, Paul might even know a tiny bit. I'm a little bit of a germaphobe. And I feel like I would have a hard time with that. So I would be the guy in the hut boiling the water and then putting it through the Brita filter and then boiling it again, letting it cool one more time through the filter. Then we drink it. You know?
Yeah.
But
And there's no water left.
then there's no water left. Yes. We use it for bath water for Emmett. So how's the bathing situation there? What's the same type of thing?
Yeah. We have a shower and everything, so like
Okay.
no heated water, but I mean you don't really want it hot water.
Do you kind of
Everything's
prep for
hot.
that a little bit before you leave? You're like, I'm gonna start making my showers a little colder.
I mean, yeah, in Phoenix, Arizona, I don't take hot showers either.
Yeah, of course,
like,
of course.
I'm kind of a weirdo.
No.
I get in the shower, it's like cold
better
as
for
possible.
you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wim Hof.
Wim Hof.
Wim Hof.
Exactly.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Wim
No.
Hof?
Exactly.
So Wim Hof is this. He's like this Swedish or Norwegian guy, and he's known for doing
Oh
these
yes,
like,
Wim Hof. Yes, you showed me that.
the ice challenges, and he goes
Oh.
in and he'll like jump into the cold water, and he's like saying, "Oh, it's supposed to make you feel better," and he has all these breathing techniques that he does. And look him up, Wim Hof. He's interesting.
I thought Wim Hof was like a company or something when he said this.
No.
The Wim Hof.
No, the Wim Hof, yes. Febreze. Yeah. So you said the negatives. What were some of the positives?
Yeah, a positive would be just the people there, super inviting, super like welcoming, love to have you in their home, love to talk to you. A lot of people love to like try to learn English better, so they want to talk to you and like have great
The
conversations.
imperial language, everyone's always interested in it, which is helpful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like gives me like just an in to talk to people and make that relationship.
That's
very
cool.
like just go with the flow. Like sometimes I'll be walking and then people are like, "Why are you walking so fast? Where do you need to go?" And I'm like, "I don't know, just walking normal speed." And they're like, "Slow down, talk to people, like take it easy."
The first time you were there, did you notice people sort of reacting to you and interacting with you in a different way?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
like-
a lot of people are like, "Oh, Wazungu," which is like white person, like, "Come over here." Like, I was like, "Okay," like,
filthy Wazungu.
yeah, exactly.
Like positive, though, right?
No, positive.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
super excited to like say hi. Like, what are you doing here? Because
Interesting.
there's only one other white family in the city that we're going to.
Wow.
So it is rare to see people who are white. Like they're like,
You're the minority.
Exactly, I'm the minority.
Yeah.
So it gets annoying after a while.
Yeah.
You're like you can't go anywhere without somebody being like,
What's
"Hey,
wrong with you?"
yeah,
Really?
Okay, I'm just trying to go to the grocery store and
Yeah,
grab some
right.
like food, like
Yeah.
So it's almost like Brad Pitt. Like you're a celebrity.
Yeah,
almost, but
Have you ever seen the movie Far From Heaven?
I don't think
It's
so.
about this like super like idealistic, you think 50s couple. I forget. Julianne Moore's the woman, the wife, and then Dennis Quaid's the husband. And it's like this weird double switcheroo thing where you find out Dennis Quaid is gay, and then the wife falls for this black guy. And this was the Allstate guy. You're in good hands. It's that guy. Yeah. And there's a scene where she's asking him like, I want, what does it feel like to be like the only, guy of your color in a room?
Mhm.
And then he kind of like diverts the question, and then later on he's like, "Hey, you want to go to this restaurant? It's really good." And it's like a black only restaurant. And then they're sitting down, and she's like, kind of like she's getting like eyeballed and stuff, and she's getting weirded out. And then he was like, now you know what it feels like. But I feel like there was a lot of hostility back then and stuff, obviously. So I feel like for you, it's kind of not dangerous, but like people are just like, "Oh, cool,"
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, is that accurate?
It puts it in perspective
Yeah,
of like,
yeah.
if I find that annoying,
Mm-hmm.
how should I be treating like any other minority in my own country?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
even if it's like that slight little bit, it's like,
Yeah.
no, like,
Right.
it's tough being a minority, even
Yeah.
if it's a positive.
Yeah.
Did you ever encounter, or do you ever worry about encountering, especially in a different country, the negative side? Do you ever think that you might be targeted as like, oh, tourist, we're gonna rob you, like something like that?
Yeah, so there's like a few difficulties with the area we're going. We are going to be closer to the Somalian border, so there's some terrorist like threats. But there's a risk wherever you go. You know, like I kind of put in the perspective of like, would you go downtown Phoenix walking at night by yourself? Not really. Right. So it's like we have like a curfew of 6:30. We're in our houses and things like that. So it's like, I'm not too worried about it. Everybody I've come in contact with in the town is super friendly, wants to be your, be your friend and be hospitable and show you that Kenya is a hospitable country.
Yeah. Are you gonna have? And is it usual to have any kind of protection there?
Yeah. I mean, dogs and things like that.
I was saying protection.
Yeah.
Condoms.
Exactly. Like guard dogs.
Cool.
Like things like that.
Yeah. So no kind of like weaponry or anything, really.
Right. No, not really.
You're gonna drive a Jeep.
Yeah.
Like every time people are in Africa,
Land Cruisers.
Yeah, Land Cruisers. Yeah.
Like they don't have that many American-made vehicles out there, but like Land Cruisers are super popular. Like everybody's driving around Land Cruisers or like pickup trucks.
Yeah.
Because you have to get around.
And I feel like there it's like actually appropriate.
Exactly.
You're in Kenya.
This is what you're going to be using every day, and you're going to need to use that 4-wheel drive to get across that dry riverbed.
That's amazing. Yeah. Did you ever play Uncharted?
No, but I've seen lots of gameplay.
Dude, it's so much fun.
You're going to be Uncharted.
You're Nathan Drake. You're Paul Kary. Nathan
I will be playing it. I don't need to play it.
Yeah, perfect. You're living it.
Yeah.
Yes. Indiana Jones fan?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. You're
Indiana Jones. Simultaneously Uncharted and Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So we were talking a little bit earlier, and you said you'd be going for increments of 3 years.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about what it means to be on your mission. Like, what do you do exactly?
Sure. Yeah, so our mission agency, which is the people sending me, the people we're partnering with, their goal is to take the church, the Christian evangelical church, to where it's not, and help to others do the same. So there is no Christian church presence in this village that we're going to be going to. And so we're really trying to be that church there and help, establish a church in that region.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's cool.
And you said you're going to work on. You said you're going to work on learning more of the language.
Exactly.
Too, right?
So I'm going to be coming in there learning Swahili primarily, but also Kenya is cool because there's 109 tribes in Kenya. Each tribe has their own language.
Wow.
So you're born learning one language. You go to school, you learn Swahili, and then when you reach middle school, you're learning English.
Wow.
So everybody knows 3 languages that goes to school, and they're like, "How many languages do you know?" I'm like, 1.
Yeah.
I'm working on the second one.
Yeah.
Like,
so do you find when you bop around there, like most people are like English, no problem?
It depends on where you are. If you're in a village, it's lower educational level. So a lot of people are just in their Swahili almost because they kind of reached middle school and kind of dropped off, had to help their family make money, things like that. And a lot of our mission is included getting those people more education.
Cool.
So we're going to be helping, those people like we have a farm there and it employs a lot of people from the village and helps even high school kids work through high school so they're able to pay their school fees and things like that.
That's cool.
But yeah, based on education level, so much English or so much Swahili.
Yeah. And you said you were going to spend some time at the farm, right?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Tell Emma and the audience what you said about versus working an office job, talking to customers on the phone, versus working on a Kenyan farm. Which would you prefer?
I'd much rather work in Kenya on a farm because it's just so much more interesting to me. You get a different thing every day. You get to learn Swahili. You get to learn somebody else's culture.
Yeah.
Just kind of talk to them, see what life is like for them, and how different it is from here. So
that's awesome.
It intrigues me.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you have job set up going in, or?
So basically, my job is to be a missionary and disciple people who are wanting to know what we believe in, which is Jesus Christ is the true Messiah kind of thing. But at the same time, I'm not going to just sit around and do that all day. I'm going to be with the people I'm trying to minister to. I'm going to be working alongside them. I'm going to trying to speak to them in Swahili, trying to help them, teach me how to do that, and just try to help them whatever way I can.
Cool,
yeah,
that's wild.
So I just want to try to visualize it a little bit better. When you say you're going to be building this church, are you going to rent out of space? Or are you going to literally go?
Sure.
Yeah.
So the way churches work in cultures that aren't Christian is you build it as a house. Like, you invite people over to study the Bible and to talk about it. That's really what the church is. It's a group of people meeting together and discussing the Bible. Later on, if there's too many people to fit in a house, then you kind of look for a building, look for a space. But primarily, I'm going to start, a house meeting, and whoever wants to come can come and learn what they need to learn and what they want to learn.
It's really cool. It's very traditional.
And worship together in that sense, rather than, hey, I'm going to go to this building and sit there for 2 hours and then feel something.
So it's like the more of the community driven.
Exactly.
The church is a community.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And who believes in the same thing and wants to learn more about it.
I almost feel like here, so I'm not super organized religion, but like I feel, here it's almost more like the building and then the people, where there it would be like the people, and then if you need a building, cool.
Exactly. And that's how I believe the church was originally started.
Right.
In the New Testament, people met in their houses and they were a community before they were a building.
So when you said that, I took it very literally. I was thinking like the Civilization video game, you play church. And
church, bam.
Yeah, exactly.
I did it.
There it is.
Time to go back home.
Right.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's really beautiful and cool. And, very traditional, and obviously you're building a strong sense of real community with that.
Exactly.
And you're touching lives.
Right.
It's more than a lot of people can say, it's like you had the calling. Do you know at what point you were like, I want to go do this? Was it more at the time, was it more like I'm young and I want adventure, or is it more like I want to spread the word of God?
Sure.
And then, or was it like both? What was it?
Yeah, so growing up, I was born in a Christian home, kind of taught Christian values. In high school, I really made it my own, kind of developing of like, I do believe this. And one lady from our church was going to Haiti on a short-term trip, about a week-long trip, said, hey, you want to tag along? Sure, that sounds great. Went to Haiti, totally shocked of like, wow, this is different. This is not America, totally different. I don't understand how people are still living like this. Kind of ignited that hunger for seeing different parts of the world. And doing missions and spreading, the church of what I believe. Like, if I'm going to believe this, why wouldn't I want to tell other people about it? If it's made such an impact on my life, why would I not want to tell other people about it?
That's great.
So I was looking for a school, and Bethany Global University is a great program. They're up in Minnesota, and they said, hey, if you want to do missions, come here, and we'll tell you how to do that.
That's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. So I went there, and kind of the rest is like,
And after you went to, where was the first place you went?
Haiti.
Haiti.
Yeah.
So after going there, was it kind of like when you came back, you almost felt like you were missing out on something, sort of, or like, did you feel like
I finished up my last 2 years of high school and went to Glendale Community College. Was kind of looking at what I wanted to do. When I found Bethany, that was like definitely the next best thing to do.
I went to GCC for a little while.
Yeah, nice.
For a little bit. Yeah, it was the Gauchos.
That's our
one
semester. I was a gaucho for one semester.
It was fun. I liked the photography class there.
Dude, I took a photography class there too.
Oh yeah. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was cool. It was cool. It was a good time.
I can't remember my first name either.
It's so funny. I can remember like teachers' names from when you were like kindergarten, first grade, second grade. Like no problem. And then you're like college professor. Like I have no idea.
Unless you made an impact, like
exactly. Yeah. You're like unless you hated them or loved them, there's like you're not gonna remember them
for sure.
Yeah.
So I know like virtually nothing about religion. I respect it, but I feel like there's a lot going on that I don't understand. The biggest delineation that I've heard is one group believes that the Pope is more like a figurehead, and then another group believes that he's like literally the voice of God. Which you're a Christian. Which one?
So Christian is Pope is a figurehead of the Catholic Church, and the evangelical church is like separate.
So Roman Catholic, literally.
Exactly. So we, I believe that the Pope was part of that formal Roman Catholic Church that started in Europe, and then Martin Luther wrote the 93 Theses, nailed them on the church wall of the Reformed evangelical church, basically, and started that whole thing of basically what is American Christianity today. And so I believe that Jesus was born fully man, fully God, and lived his life, and then also died on the cross for all of our sins. All of our sins are forgiven through Christ as we accept that, and then he was risen again on the third day. So that's like the core tenets of what like evangelical Christianity believes, and that's like kind of where
Awesome.
I stand.
I got a Bible question for you.
Sure.
So, sorry, we're going full missionary.
Go for it.
This is good practice for one.
Yeah.
That's questions.
So just your own personal belief. Do you think the Bible is 100% everything in it is that's how it is, or do you think a lot of it's like stories and lessons and take it with a grain of salt?
Sure. I believe everything in the Bible is inspired by God, written by man.
Okay.
There are allegories in there, so like stories that Jesus told are not true, but have those biblical truths in them that you can glean from.
Okay.
But as of the Old Testament, I believe all of that is true as historical books.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like
Sweet.
Adam and Eve, do you think there really was an Adam and Eve, and do you think there actually was a serpent, or do you think that was like a little bit of fairy tale mixed with like storytelling of the Bible?
Sure.
You know.
I believe, so the Bible does say that Adam and Eve were in the garden. There was a serpent there. And I would take that literally.
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem with that.
Okay.
A lot of people like to play around with the idea of like, oh, do you think like the serpent was actually Satan, or like just a snake, or like things like that? And I'm like, sure, you could kind of play around with that. The core tenet is like, man did sin, and that fall of man, like man was perfect, and then man sinned, and that's why we need Jesus.
Yeah.
It's like a 1, 2, 3 step,
Yeah.
and so it's like that's all that I need to really believe in
Yeah.
to know that I need to accept Christ as my Savior, so that I'm forgiven of
That's
my
great.
sins.
I appreciate that. You take the meaning from it, and that's what's most important.
Exactly.
I think that's what a lot of people are missing from just general like movies and stuff these days.
Take the core of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people will be like, what about this? I'm like,
Right.
does it matter?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
I always have questions like that. It's like it's always coming from a place of curiosity.
Yeah.
I'm always kind of like, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they say, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't Eve made from the rib of Adam?
Yeah.
And then men have one less rib
Sure.
in our anatomy.
yeah.
And I'm always kind of like, I always thought that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, kind of God has a sense of humor, I always think.
Right,
and like,
yeah.
he likes to make things work.
Yeah.
And when I find things out, I'm like, cool. Like, intelligent design, that's awesome.
That's
Like,
interesting. But I've always been fascinated with the
Appreciate it.
dichotomy between what's just a lesson and what's written by a dude and then edited by a king and edited by all these other people.
Right.
And then what's actually like, oh, that happened historically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's always
It's like
fascinating.
the game when you whisper in someone's ear and they whisper the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then King James edits it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no extras.
Right.
But super interesting stuff, man.
Yeah.
So, do you have any apprehension about going at all again, or is it all just very like cool and calm?
Currently, it's like far enough out, like 2 months that we're trying to leave. It's like kind of like my right now stress is just like getting everything packed up and thrown in like a van and moving to Arkansas.
Yeah.
And then meeting with more people. But like as it comes up, I'm sure gonna have like apprehensions, like kind of a nervousness of like logistics and everything. But for the most part, I have a really good peace about it. I'm excited for it. And
Good.
Then I'm sorry, I think you mentioned earlier, correct me if I'm wrong, is there a woman in your life?
Yeah,
With you?
so I'm married.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we got
awesome.
married in June 2020. We both went to Kenya on that internship.
Oh, wow.
We dated throughout that. Graduated May 1st of 2020. Married June 2020. COVID wedding.
That's fantastic.
Been married for 2 years coming up this
Everyone
June.
got sick.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you.
That is awesome. She's super nice, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get to meet her. I've met her before, probably 2 or 3 times.
A couple times she come into work and everything and got to say hi, say hi to the puppy.
And I got to meet your dog, Ruka.
Yeah, we got a dog named Ruka, which means jump in Swahili.
Cool.
The dog.
She's gonna come.
Gonna go.
Yeah, dogs can go
It's
to
a
Kenya.
guard dog.
Oh, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. She's a big sweetheart.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
she's
she's
a horrible alert.
Is she a boxer?
She has so she's half lab and then quarter pit bull, quarter Chindo.
Cool.
Yeah, so a little bit of a mix in there.
Wow, and 100% Kenyan.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
After
It's a
this
Kenyan
trip.
name.
After this trip.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Wow. So that's gonna be like, what is it? Like a 9-hour flight, something like that?
So if we fly from JFK straight to Nairobi, it's 13 hours.
Holy crap.
So not too bad.
Not too bad.
I mean, it
crazy.
takes from here to drive to Arkansas it takes 18 hours. So
Wow.
like,
You can get out and stretch your legs, man. Well, I guess you can stretch going pee in the plane and
yeah, the big planes you have 2 rows, so you can just walk around the whole plane.
Okay.
So it's not.
Or you do that, you get yourself real tired and then you just sleep the whole time.
Yeah.
There you go.
I try my best to do that.
Drink a bunch of wine and don't sleep.
That is a smart way
There
to
you
fly.
go.
Yeah.
See, the longest I've ever flown, I've only flown like 6 hours. That's like the longest I've ever flown.
Yeah.
I know you've done like marathon ones.
Yeah,
You've done
yeah.
marathon ones. So it's like I've never had that really long, intimidating, like half a day trip where I'm like,
your brain just kind of zones out. It goes into airplane mode. It really does. Yeah. You just kind of go into this weird hazy lull.
Yeah.
And it is odd because times are changing. Everything's. You feel like you're not totally. You're like phasing through realities almost.
Exactly.
Like nothing matters. It's very odd.
And then you have jet lag for like 2 days.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because we're gonna jump forward 10 hours.
Wow.
So we're like gonna lose a day.
Time travel.
And then when you come back, you gain the day.
Yeah.
So it's like coming back. We left Saturday night, got here Saturday afternoon.
Great.
Like
time travel.
That's crazy.
Weird.
You are the time traveler.
It is weird. It's super strange because we were leaving Saturday night, and Ashley was like super bummed. She's like, "I'm not gonna be able to get Chick-fil-A when I get there." I'm like, "Don't worry, it's gonna be Saturday afternoon when we get there." She's like, "Oh yeah,
Dang,
that's wild."
yeah.
Like,
So the real question is, Paul, we had Taco Bell before this little pod here. Is there any Taco Bell in Kenya?
There's no Taco Bell.
God.
Oh.
KFC?
KFC?
Burger King.
All right. You'll make it work. Burger King, nice. That's a solid
Make our own
choice.
Taco Bell. Ashley actually
definitely
made Supreme Wrap Crunches.
Nice.
Like, the other
There
day.
are some really good recipes out there, especially if you want to kind of do it like
It's not
a
hard.
little more healthy.
That's the correct restaurant to go to though, because the original design for the buildings was a mission.
That's
True. Missionaries go to Taco Bell. Real missionaries go to Taco Bell.
Wow. We'll have to drive by. After this, I'll drive you by the original Taco Bell.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Beautiful.
It'll inspire you.
Yeah.
It is nice. Yes. We'll pray to the tacos. I'm sorry. All right, guys. Time for a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Yeah.
After a hard day riding my bike with my hairy dog Mike, I want the blues. Yeah, cheesy Alfredo, the blue box blues. I put the pedal to the metal. Hurry on home, I want the blues.
Here's a new twist on the cheesiest. New Cheesy Alfredo, Kraft macaroni and cheese.
If Mama wants to please me, she's only got the cheese, man. I got the blues.
And we're back. All right, so I had one question I 110% wanted to ask Paul, and I think the Unfazed crew would be mad at me if I didn't ask, because it's super appropriate for what we do on our channel. As a religious man, as a missionary, what are your thoughts on ghosts and the paranormal?
Ghosts and the paranormal, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think there are, things that we think are ghosts, in my opinion, but I think they're more just spirits. There is a spiritual life. There's a spiritual side of everything that we do here on Earth, whether it be angel, demon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I could see that. I think more often than not, unfortunately, it's a demon.
Really? Okay, yeah.
Because
I can believe that.
That's angels are here for I feel like there's there's guardian angels, and then there's the ones that are kind of like watching out for you, and then there's the things that you're seeing happening in the world that you can't really explain.
Sure.
And it's kind of creepy. It's like everything from God and the good side, I don't think would be doing those kinds of things. So that's my take on it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any kind of paranormal experience yourself?
Yeah, there was one time in Kenya where there was, a possession, if you would say.
Really?
Yeah, and it probably lasted for 15 minutes.
Can you tell a little bit about it?
I probably wouldn't want to get into it too much.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
like a personal thing with
Okay.
another person that was there. So
Wow.
yeah, I wouldn't want to really get into it too
Wow,
much.
no
It's
problem,
A little
no problem.
more of a
Yeah.
personal story, but yeah, definitely there is some stuff that happened there. And, yeah.
Wow, man. Yeah.
That's
And I
amazing.
feel like in that area, there's a lot of witchcraft. So the spiritual life is more abundant, whether
Really?
that be good or bad.
Wow.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
on the tip of my tongue. I had to ask you.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's like we've had a few experiences, and I think Emmett definitely came from a even more skeptical side than myself. Emmett's always been very. That's one thing I love about doing ghost hunts with Emmett. Is he's very open-minded, but also very critical thinking and very skeptical. And he comes from kind of the science perspective. It's like you're kind of the Harold Ramis,
Thank you. Yeah.
But I love that, and I think it's good and adds a good balance to our stuff. But like Terror Trader, we saw some really crazy stuff.
Yeah, some stuff that
And that's some stuff where when Paul talks about it being like demonic and coming from a negative side of things,
Yeah.
I think you're 100%.
Sure.
Yeah. It just feels like there's nothing good in some of those situations where you kind of start poking it a little bit. You're like, oh, it might poke back.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if I want it to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. It's Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, when you add, I think from a religious perspective, were I religious, I obviously would be a lot more terrified of that stuff.
Yeah.
I think because the perspective that I come at it from is always just like the Goosebumps VHS tapes and shit. It's like very campy, goofy, like kind of benign, but. Yeah, and when it comes from like a religious aspect, when you think of it in those terms, it's like kind of horrifying.
It is horrifying.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few of our friends who shall remain nameless, who great friends, very very close. They refuse to take part in any of the ghost stuff. They're not down, and there's some who are on the fence. You know, I know Alan has talked about wanting to come a few times, but he's very religious.
Yeah,
but he kind of wants to dip his toes in it a little bit. But there's some other friends that are like, no.
Right.
Like, not going to do it, not interested. And I respect it.
That's kind of me. I'm just
And
I respect
and I can kind of see it from that perspective because it's like, I'm not super religious. You know, it's like, I believe in God. I'm open to a lot of the stuff, but I'm not super, like, you know, specific religious guy.
Yeah.
So I go into that stuff with kind of a different perspective, I think. But some of the people that are very, very devout, it's like I can see how they're like, nope. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I respect it.
But I do want to mention this because we're on this track. I was telling them earlier, sometimes I go to church with my buddies, the White brothers, who play cello and violin. I have them. Yeah, exactly. They're great guys, very, very devout, very religious. And every once in a while I tag along with them. And because, you know, whenever you bring up religion, especially with someone who's non-religious, it's always about like how do you believe in this, believe in that. It's always about like the literal belief system. Yeah. But whenever I go to church with these guys, I'm not so much thinking about that, and that really has not a lot to do with what they're saying. And the sermons are more like life lessons and things. And I've always taken away like one really good quote that's been said, and that's always it's helpful just in your life. You don't have to go in like believing it all 100%, but it's a great community. Everyone I've always felt super welcomed when I'm at a church, and most of the sermons that I've heard are very, I don't know, just like illuminating and supportive and like helpful in your life. Yeah. So I think, like you were saying earlier, some people just miss the point, and it doesn't have to be literally about like, do I believe this stuff yet? You know, I think you can go in and kind of decide if you like the atmosphere and what's being said in terms of just, you know, how do you want to lead your life? Because that's the main thing. When they sort of talk about, you know, leading a life that will make you happy and like how to do that, the things they always say like make so much sense. I'm just like, I feel like an idiot. I'm like, oh yeah, why have I been doing that? Sure. You know, so and I just want to mention that because as skeptical as I am, I always do take a lot away from
which is great.
Church.
The few times I've gone, it's like it does always seem to be a good lesson, and like say even if you're not 100% on board with even that particular church's religion, if you go, you can be like, oh, that's a great lesson, and it's kind of a perspective shaping experience. Yeah, where it kind of like reframes the way you think about things. Yeah, where you're like, oh, cool, that's awesome. That's I think you're doing a lot of great things, and I think it's going to benefit a lot of people. Yeah, which is great.
A lot of what's been said in sermons that I've been to were akin to some of the things that I've heard in like therapy. Like it's a lot about like looking inward and learning how to be happy with yourself without anything outside of that, and that's really important. I think it's something that everyone forgets. For sure. And so that's why this thing is so illuminating when I go there. Like you kind of forget to do that, as dumb as it sounds. Like a lot of people do. Yeah. You know?
Oh, you look at the world we live in now. Yeah. Everyone kind of has blinders on.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. If you're more concerned about yourself rather than others, like it all comes down to that. Yeah. Like the golden rule. Yeah. Like do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Yeah. For sure. And you know. Yeah, that's like kind of, it's super simple but super complicated when you're living your life because it's so easy to be that selfish person like, I need this job, I need this thing, I need this, you know.
It's good. It's good to take time away from being totally introspective and self-absorbed and not saying that you're self-absorbed, but I'm just saying people as a whole can be self-absorbed, and it's good to like focus your energy on like, oh, maybe helping another person or helping an animal or whatever, and like not being totally focused on oneself.
Yeah. I remember I was a volunteer for a charity once because I had to do it for a class at SEC. And I felt so good. It was weird. And like, I know, right? I mean, like, it was weird. Like, kind of like while it was going on, I was like, it was the part. In the beginning, it was like, oh, it's kind of a drag. And like, as it got going, I was like, oh, this is all right, it's fine. And then,
what was the charity?
it was just like called. It was literally called like "Feed the Starving Children" or something. Like, it could have been more straightforward. Yeah. And you're just bagging all this food for these kids, and like I remember just feeling really happy for the rest of the day after that, and like you some part of your mind like clicks, and you know that you've done.
You're like,
good.
what's this fuzzy warm?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hell is not normal.
Yeah.
I'm usually really grumpy, but now I'm kind of happy.
Yeah, I help the children.
It happens, but I've always meant to go back and just like do that again. Because I just remember how good it made me feel.
Eventually.
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
I'm still going off the high.
Right. Yeah. Really, yeah.
I was like, will run out in another year.
That was like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's a strong, warm, fuzzy feeling.
Maybe in another decade, those little kids, I'll give them some more Campbell soup. They'll be fine.
Yeah, no, but
That stuff you were talking about, feed my starving children. I've had to eat that before because it's like it's shipped to Kenya.
Oh,
and they're like serving it at a school, and I was like eating. I'm like,
when were you there? What years?
Well, 2019 or 2018. Yeah, 2018, around there.
Maybe
packed my food.
Maybe.
Well, like I was eating, I was like, this isn't great, but it's like super nutritious apparently.
Yeah,
because it's like those packets of like
Yeah.
multivitamins.
Yeah.
Like
It's like
rice
multivitamins
stuff.
and like Pedialyte.
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like all the hydration, all the nutrition.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah, appreciate it. Man.
This man is giving.
Yeah.
This man is selfless. Paul, you can learn a thing or two.
Exactly. Emmett goes every 6 years, feed my starving children, and
good,
carries
good.
them through.
One thing you guys don't know about Emmett, he's a big humanitarian.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was eye-opening.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
I did have, you were talking about spirits, like angels and demons and stuff. Do you think angels look like guys with wings, or do they look like the wheels?
Yeah, I think they can look like whatever they want to look like.
Yeah.
They have the power to be a human.
Oh,
they have a
okay,
power
yeah.
to be a spirit. You
Oh,
know.
very cool.
Yeah.
Like Mystique.
Exactly.
Like Animorphs.
Animorphs. Yeah.
Not like Animorphs.
Not like Animorphs. Yeah, angels.
So,
I've always been curious about.
Right. If I ever meet like somebody who's super helpful, like or something, and then don't see them ever again, I'm like, for sure, like that was somebody said, like, you know, like somebody who gives me a word
Yeah.
or like encouragement or something, and then like it was like just a one-off. I'm like, why would I have not followed up with him, like or something?
Yeah.
Must have been like an angel.
Then they're standing still in a crowd of people going back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
And you look back and they're gone.
Exactly.
Do you think here's kind of a deep question, kind of out there a little bit? Do you think angels are capable, just as demons are capable of possessing people? Do you think angels, when necessary, can possess people if they need to?
I think they can, but I don't think it's like necessary because I believe that like God, Jesus is God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, Trinity, right? Holy Spirit is inside me because I have faith.
Yeah.
So I believe that's who's inside.
Yeah.
You know.
Because I always wonder when you hear about guardian angel stories, is like, I've always taken it where it's like, okay, that could be an actual angel manifesting the shape of a person that we can understand so they could come and help in a situation. Mm-hmm. But it would be super interesting if just someone was like, right place, right time, and then the angel like possesses them and is like, don't turn left. And then you're like, well, hey.
Yeah, I was about to say there's the trope of like angels possessing people to do good.
Yeah.
It'll be like a hint of like, you should do this good thing.
Or sometimes you'll hear about situations like, not to bring the mood down, but like active shooter situations or stuff like that where it's like a crazy, horrible situation or like a fire or something like that. And someone really steps up and they say, I don't know what came over me. It was the adrenaline and then boom, I saved 4 people. Or something like that. And it's like, sometimes I wonder if like, was that really just bravery and adrenaline or was there a little something else there? Yeah. You know, it makes you think.
I mean, it's that realm we don't know. And it's like, I can speculate, but I wouldn't feel comfortable saying either way because it's like, I don't know. Yeah, but it's fun to think about.
Yeah,
it is fun to think about. I've never even thought of that until tonight. I've never thought of like, oh, an angel could possess someone if a demon can possess someone.
Right, yeah.
Never even thought of that.
Interesting,
I mean, they gotta have similar powers.
I didn't even think about it.
They've gotta have similar powers.
Sure.
You know, they feel like...
You're looking at like superheroes.
You don't have to have the same powers. If not, one's OP.
Exactly.
And then it's just no fun.
Because you hear about the demonic possessions, and I'm like...
It was the angel from X-Men. He had good powers.
Archangel, portrayed by Ben Foster.
Ben Foster,
fun fact.
Angels, speaking of archangels, they can be pretty intense. Like Michael, right? He's got a sword on depiction, so that's pretty cool. Yeah.
There's a cat that sleeps in our entryway we call Archangel.
Oh.
Yeah, I named him.
It's beautiful.
There's your guardian angel.
Yeah.
Well, I always saw him as the guardian to the other cats, and
Yeah.
really how he got his name was when the summer would come in, his hair would kind of molt a little bit,
Yeah.
and it looked like wings.
That's interesting.
And I was like, let's call him Archangel. Yeah.
But yeah, I think is it Old Testament angels that are depicted like a series of wheels or whatever? But that's, yeah. I mean, you ever heard the old song Ezekiel saw the wheel way up in the middle?
Huh.
Yeah, it's yeah. You can look it up.
Interesting.
It's very I think it's very old. It looks bizarre. But what was interesting is that
Are you sure you're not thinking Transformers Dark of the Moon?
Yeah.
similar but different.
Okay.
No, a friend of mine had had like a vivid dream where she said like this like wheel spoke to her and like told her all this stuff was going to happen, and like she didn't know what it was, and she drew it and it looked exactly like. Let me just pull it up so you guys can see it.
Interesting.
It's like a series of little circles.
I've just never heard of it, so it's wild.
Yeah.
It's very abstract, but it makes sense, you know.
And she didn't know like what it was, and like she drew it, and I was like, "That's exactly what wheels look like." Or what wheels look like. That's exactly what angels look like.
That looks like a wheel.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
But okay, so like here's a couple.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Interesting.
It's crazy.
I
Yeah.
get you.
So there's like old songs about it and stuff.
That's intriguing.
Yeah, it's very odd. But yeah, as I told her, like that's exactly what angels.
It's like
look
it's like two rings intersected.
Got it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And she had no idea, and like it told her a bunch of like interesting stuff about her life, and like she just had never heard of that before. And
That's
like,
crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of intriguing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it makes sense if they can take any form and they just, human is the most easy to understand, then they could be whatever. They could be
Yeah.
geometric shapes.
Right.
Who knows?
Mm.
So, Paul, another question for you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on aliens?
Oh. Yeah. I kind of. Me and my wife, we go back and forth on this sometimes because I have kind of an interesting approach to it because it's like,
Okay.
in my mind, I love the idea of aliens. Of
course.
That's cool.
They're exciting.
That's funny.
Yeah.
And like a lot of Christians will be like, no, they can't exist. I'm like, well, why not?
Right.
They're like, they're like, well, because God created us and He created the Bible and this perfect plan for us. I'm like, well, what if He did the same thing somewhere else?
Right. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
why not?
Maybe we might see them in heaven.
Yeah.
And they're like, huh. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't hurt my faith at all to believe in aliens.
Yeah.
And I like the idea. I like
It's fascinating, yeah.
listening to Joe Rogan all the time and like
Right.
talking
Good, of course.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Like the Commander Fraser kind of thing,
Yeah.
like with the little box that's like dropping out there.
That's
like,
sick.
that's so interesting
Yeah.
to me.
So cool, yeah.
It's true. I mean, the thought of like the perfect planet and everything is like sort of factually true because we are in like the Goldilocks zone in our solar system. And when you look at other planets, they're all like these hellish scapes. There's one planet where it's literally like raining glass all the time,
Right.
And like everything's like toxic and it's shitty all the time.
Yeah.
It's like 35th Avenue in Bethany.
Yeah, exactly. All the time, yeah.
Yeah.
And but like here for some reason, like we're in the exact spot where it's like the opposite,
Right.
It's
I think it's
so-
like aliens would have to be part of a whole other universe. And they're in the sweet spot of that universe.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you know what I've thought about getting real deep on is like that's our Goldilocks for our life conditions here. What if there's another planet like Venus or something where it's like the beings are like ghost vapor people that go around, you know what I mean? Where it's like they go around and like they're like
planet of spirits.
yeah, and it's like we can't see them.
Ghost vapor.
Ghost vapor planet,
I like that.
Yeah,
It's a good name.
It's cool, but yeah, it's a good name.
Ghost vapor planet.
Yeah, aliens. I think the obviously you could consider like all the microscopic bacteria we find some places as aliens.
Yeah,
Right.
There's even bacteria like on the outside of one of our space stations. Like that's crazy. Yeah.
Or like
bizarre. Yeah.
the ocean, like
Yeah.
in the deep chasms.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of alien. You
Yeah,
know,
that's
if you
what's
don't
crazy.
know about it, it's
Yeah,
like
it is.
Yeah.
it has tentacles and
Anything that's
dark.
far enough away that we don't know is alien.
Right.
And if there's life, it's even more alien.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's cool. I wanted your opinion on that.
Yeah.
And the Phoenix Lights, of course, very intriguing.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
interesting for sure.
What are your thoughts on the Phoenix Lights?
I don't know. I haven't done much. Like I've just heard about them. Like
Yeah,
a guy's like,
yeah.
oh yeah, that was a thing, and I was like, oh okay. I was like,
Yeah.
but I haven't really looked into them.
You should look into them.
I should.
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
should.
Not even not from
Just because I'm from Phoenix, I probably should know about that.
They're
Yeah.
excited.
right.
Yeah, they're
Then
excited.
speaking of, I mean, there was a lot of conjecture about the sightings of angels and people now thinking those were aliens and vice versa.
Yeah.
Because they were like these weird contraptions,
Yeah.
and there are some like famous old paintings of like
Yep.
things that look like
Those are bizarre.
spaceships, but they're supposed to be angels.
And it's from like 1601.
Right, yeah. So that's really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's like literally evidence of it. And you're like, oh, this has been like in this chapel for like 400 years.
Yeah.
And there's a freaking UFO in the back. Like, what we perceive to be a UFO.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, I wonder about that. Another thing with time travel, too, is I thought, what if those are time machines?
UFOs?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. What if the UFOs are time machines?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's why they don't want to interfere with us, because they don't want to mess with the butterfly effect.
That's right.
I don't know. Just
Pretty smart. Yeah.
Interesting stuff. What other questions do we have for Paul?
I was just going to ask, because we're talking about movies a lot on here. Have you seen the movie Silence by Scorsese?
No.
It's about, you probably don't watch it. It'll get you down, but it's about missionaries in the 1600s that go to Japan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have seen it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Crazy, dramatic movie.
Good movie?
Beautiful fucking.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
I love
But
Scorsese.
it's like very quiet.
Very quiet.
Because
Yeah,
it's silent. There's like no soundtrack, I think.
No.
There's like zero score.
Yeah.
But there's
So-
a lot of Stacey.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tragic and it's the harshest conditions they could,
Damn.
but it's really beautiful. You gotta watch it up until the last moment. But,
Okay.
Yeah. It's like,
Liam Neeson and Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield and Kylo Ren. What's his name?
Wow. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you get Darth What's-His-Face, Kylo Ren,
Kylo Ren.
Qui-Gon Jinn,
Like I'm Jan.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Big mashup.
Cool.
Yeah.
In Goodfellas.
In Goodfellas.
It's very
In Japan.
Yeah,
See, now I
yeah.
understand. Last
Yeah.
Samurai. All right. I'll have to check it out.
Nah, it's a good one. It's really
It's cool.
good.
I heard Andrew Garfield in an interview saying he was kind of grateful on one hand that he stopped being Spider-Man because he got to do that
Hacksaw
film
Ridge.
and work with Scorsese.
Yeah.
And then he got to do, I forget what other interesting movie he did. He did a really unique one around that time where he got to work with some huge director. I can't remember who it
We
was.
did Hacksaw Ridge right after it.
Hacksaw Ridge, that's what it was, yeah.
Hacksaw Ridge was so good.
Amazing
Yeah.
movie. If you
That's
guys
still the kind of religious one, right? Because that's
Yeah.
why
Did
he
you
doesn't
see
want to
Hacksaw
fight.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Well, Mel Gibson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was cool, right? Yeah.
I
It was
liked
so
it.
odd
Yeah,
to
me
me. The tone in the first half was like, I started to not like it because it was too
it was
like
a Hallmark movie.
yeah, it was very Hallmark. I was like,
Yeah.
this is dumb.
Yeah.
And then when they got into war, I was like, Jesus Christ.
Right, well, it's going down.
Yeah. It was one of the
Crazy.
most brutal movies I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it
I
was
loved it.
close. Yeah.
It was great. It was right up there. It was like that and Rambo 4.
yeah.
You know, where it was like really like, oh my gosh, like people just getting blown to bits. But you gotta figure out what war was like.
Yeah.
And then the fact that he went through and he was like a pacifist without a weapon.
Right, just running around.
And he lived and he was a real guy.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't fictional.
Right.
It was like a legit true story. But crazy
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah. You like Mel Gibson?
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's awesome.
It's pretty hard. You can't not like him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Right.
Have I met? I don't think I've met anybody who's like, I don't like Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson's
like,
awesome.
Like,
He's
legit.
really cool, yeah. Get the Gringo, great movie.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that.
Is that an accurate, would you say an accurate decision in that situation as a religious person, or do you think it was a little intense? Like if someone's coming at you trying to
Sure.
kill you, like, you know.
No, I would not go the pacifist route when it comes to war. No, I'm like,
Nor would I.
God, guns, and glory.
Yeah.
Like, because in the Bible, he's like even told the Israelites, go wipe these people out.
Right, yeah.
You know, I'm obviously, if I did not agree with the war, like, you know, if I'm in Nazi Germany, World War II, and I'm like Hitler's drafting people, I'm probably going to run. You know?
Yeah.
But if the war is like against something that I believe in, and I think God would believe in, I'm all in.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
I
you know?
agree. Yeah, for sure.
And like also going in that if somebody's trying to attack my family or me,
Of course,
I'll self-defend.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of brutality in the Bible, and God was very Mel Gibson in a lot of parts. Where it's like God was very Rambo. You know what I mean? I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I just mean like
Very Mel Gibson of you guys.
I get
You stole it from
where I like what the Gibson guys do. But I feel like a lot of his brutality and stuff. It's like for him being such a religious director. He has stuff that's just so brutal and so dark, and people are like, oh, it's so gratuitous. And I'm like, God's gratuitous sometimes with his violence and stuff, but then you see the sentiment behind it and the meaning, and you're like, oh, it's coming from a good place.
Righteous anger.
Yeah, it's interesting. So it's like, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Gibson's done a few movies like that. He did obviously Passion of the Christ.
Yep.
And then Lethal Weapon, of course.
Yep.
And not really a religious one, it's just,
Yeah.
just a great movie.
Good movie.
Yeah, but as far as the religious ones, he did, was it not Father Chuck, what was it called? whatever his last religious movie was about the priest.
I can't remember.
The movie was really good,
Yeah.
man. I did not think I would like it because I'm not a big Mark Wahlberg fan.
Yeah.
He kind of rubs me the wrong
Mark
way.
Wahlberg was the priest?
He was the priest.
Hey, I'm a priest.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it was actually a really, like, pull on your heartstrings movie. And I was like, wow. And like I said, I don't like Marky Mark.
Marky Mark, yeah,
But I watched
either.
it and I was like, damn, it's one I would never watch again because it was so intense. It was a one-time watch.
Yeah, you can't do that.
But I left the theater again and I was like, all right, Mark, good movie.
That's the one way in which we're opposing. We like the same movies, but like you respect when something's intense and you're like this is great and you walk away. I watch it like 10 times.
Really?
Yeah. Wear it out.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll like watch a movie 10 times.
Like
Actually,
Hereditary.
that was a good movie. Let's
Yeah.
watch it. I'm like, yeah.
Like
It's dead to me now.
Hereditary once was enough.
Oh, sure. So many
Yeah.
times.
But here's my thing. I think it might have been enough time. I might go back to it. I might go back to it. But
and
it,
Nocturnal Animals, I watch it so many times.
love that movie.
Yeah.
See, that's the kind of disturbing. I can go back and rewatch that one.
Yeah.
I'm weird in that respect. There's certain ones where I'm like, nah, and there's other ones where I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it depends. But Mel Gibson did quite a few of those. He did that Father, what's his name? He did Passion of the Christ and Hacksaw Ridge, and those were all very dual toned, like very actiony
What
and
was,
then
like,
very
the
religious.
Aztec one he did or whatever?
Oh, Apocalypto.
Apocalypto, yeah, I never saw that, but I heard that one's crazy.
Fantastic.
too,
Have you
yeah.
seen Apocalypto? Highly recommend.
Yeah. Alright.
This is a highly recommend for me. I highly recommend
You're
it.
gonna have to send me like a list of like
Yeah.
top 20 movies.
I'm gonna send you a
Because I
list.
was like, in Kenya, I have time.
Yeah.
At night, we're in my house.
And you have Wi-Fi.
You have Wi-Fi.
So
They
you-
actually have a cool thing where you just go to a booth, you pay 40 cents, they give you a movie. Like, pirated.
Oh,
Because you're in Kenya.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Like, and you pay 40 cents, the guy puts it on your flash drive.
That's sick.
Yeah.
This isn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
Guys, suggest movies for Paul in
Exactly.
comments, okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll send them to him.
Yeah.
How are we doing on time here? Let's see. Oh, we're good. We're good. We got plenty of time.
Yeah.
But I will send you a list. I'll give
That'd
you
be
a
great.
nice hearty list.
Yeah, some quality
We have access
movies.
to Netflix and stuff too, or it will
Yeah.
be more.
But it's
Okay.
Kenyan, like each country's different, but we can like use a VPN and just.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I'm gonna give you a big list. I'm gonna give
Oh,
you
sick.
like 50 movies at least.
Yeah,
It's
perfect.
gonna be great. I mean, you got 3 years. You got
Exactly.
time.
I got time.
Yeah.
You know how I am with
And then you
lists.
can update it as they come out. And you're like, this one's coming.
Perfect. Okay.
Now, how are you in movies when it comes to like magic and stuff? Because I had one religious friend who
Yeah.
like his parents wouldn't even let him watch like Harry Potter.
So my mom is like, when I was growing up, no Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But Lord of the Rings, totally okay. You know,
Really?
like because J.R.R. Tolkien, Christian, wrote the books.
right.
It's good, you know.
Okay.
That's good magic.
Okay.
Wow.
Harry Potter's
Good magic.
bad magic.
That's intriguing.
Yeah.
But you know, growing up now, it's like that's all. But now I'm cool. I love all the fantasy stuff.
Interesting.
Like, yeah.
Well,
Like
you
sometimes
were
it gets a
telling
little
me-
bit dark.
You were telling me
and, like,
Veggie Tales were a no-no, right?
like no,
Veggie Tales are good.
No, Veggie Tales is the
Veggie Tales are
good
good.
stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's like Christian,
They're
like,
like,
101.
Right at the end of every episode. I don't know why I thought that was a no-no. I don't know.
Veggie Tales is demon.
That little tomato man getting some
You're gonna influence a bunch of parents of like, kids, you can no longer watch Veggie Tales.
Guys,
Ben
Veggie Tales is bad.
said it was bad.
I watched that when I was a kid.
Veggie Tales is demonic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I had a VHS of it where they were like doing Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recreate like all the Bible stories
Yeah.
with cucumbers and
You know what?
tomatoes
You know,
and stuff.
yeah. Just much like the cam girls now, the cucumbers.
You know what's funny is my dad owned a Christian bookstore, and so when Veggie Tales first came out, a rep came by and was like trying to sell them. Like, this is the next big thing. My dad's like, that's it.
No.
Vegetables talking.
Wow.
Like, come on. He like didn't buy it. And then like that year, like
Just took
massive
off?
sales took off in like
Wow.
the market, and my dad's like, "Oops, okay, like I'll start buying it and stocking it." Like,
Wow.
it was so funny because my dad's like, "This is stupid." Like Veggie Tales, like,
Wishbone?
yeah,
Wishbone was great.
Yeah,
I love
PBS
Wishbone was great, yeah.
Wishbone was amazing. Damn right, he was great.
I feel like I learned the most about like literary classics from Wishbone.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think I was like, oh, I don't need to read that book anymore. Like,
Okay.
Oliver Twist got that from
Here-
Wishbone.
Yeah, which are the ones that stand out the most in your mind for Wishbone? Like
Oliver Twist.
Oliver Twist?
Yeah.
Yeah, fish and have
Yeah, exactly. And the dog's like walking
Yeah.
up the little dish.
I remember Don Quixote
Sure.
and him going after the windmills. And when I was a kid, I'd call him Donkey Honky. And then I remember Joan of Arc cutting off her head, and then like a head of lettuce would roll down.
Oh my gosh.
Because
They cut off Joan
I
of Arc's
remember
head.
yeah, they cut off her head, and a head of lettuce came down because they didn't want to show a
I guess
fake
they
head.
couldn't burn the lettuce.
Yeah.
She burned it at stake.
Yeah, but they did the
It's
beheading. Yeah.
Did she turn into lettuce, or what was it?
I don't remember.
representation
Of the head.
Don't want to give them nightmares.
We'd have to look up the clip, but I think it was like, hey, we gotta have a head of lettuce so it doesn't freak the kids out.
That's yeah. I didn't think about that because a lot of those older stories are gruesome.
pretty brutal.
Yeah.
It all goes back to veggies.
Exactly. You gotta show everything in veggies.
Yes,
They're not violent at all.
of course.
When you slice them, it's horrible.
Yeah,
Of course,
that's
you
right.
just gotta hack them up a little.
Wow. Joan of Arc is lettuce.
Yeah, if I can find the clip,
That's
maybe we'll
interesting,
insert it. Alright guys, we're going to do one more lettuce and tomato break, and then we'll come back and we'll check a couple of the emails.
Indy, over here. Indiana Jones, at your service, Toad. Ah!
Indiana Jones and other action figures new from Raiders of the Lost Ark collection, each sold separately.
Watch him, Cairo, swordsman. Yeah, watch my swing. Yikes! Ew. All downhill from here, swordsman. You'll be sorry, Jones. Trick you again, Toad.
Indiana Jones, Tote, and Cairo Swordsman action figures, each sold separately from Raiders of the Lost Ark collection, new from Kenner.
What's even better than seeing the brand new exhibits at the world-famous San Diego Zoo and the San Diego Wild Animal Park? Seeing them both for one low price. See the pygmy chimps at the zoo and the mysterious hidden jungle at the Wild Animal Park. 2 parks for one low price. So get hopping.
Welcome back, guys. We're going to dive a little bit into the email, but Paul, did you have any stuff on your mind you want to throw out there before we dive into the email?
Yeah, I was kind of curious if you guys could tell me how you guys started the podcast and everything. That's kind of interesting.
I don't think so. I don't know about all that. How did we start the podcast? So Emma and I became friends at SCC. We hung out just as buddies before we did any video stuff, and then we started. We both jived creatively and comedically, I think, and we were like, let's start doing videos. And I don't remember the first thing we did together video-wise, but no, actually I do. It was when I was doing the film classes at SCC, and I needed you to be an actor for one of my projects. And we did one called The Comedian, and it was a comedian getting his source material, and it was a stop motion video of you that we did downtown. And so I hit up my buddy Emmett, and I was like, hey man, you want to be my model for this, basically. We went downtown, we did all the pictures of you groping statues and stuff, and then walking up to Stand Up Live downtown, and it was a stop motion video that we did.
Yeah.
And that was the first unphased video, technically.
That's right, yeah.
Even though it was just for a class project. And then after that, just as our friendship continued, we, I think first before the podcast, we started writing together.
We quickly went into writing and making those skits.
Yeah.
And I think, because a lot of times when we hang out, we'd be in conversation.
Yeah.
And we'd have strong opinions about things. And I think at one point we were just like, we need to say something about this.
We should.
Yeah.
So, or we did, and then we should.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you. We should. Here it is. But no, you're right. That's how it started.
Yeah.
And I think, the writing was first because we had funny ideas, and we're like, oh, we should try this into a script. And then...
Our very first one, I remember this distinctly, was about the movie Split.
Yeah.
Because your friend James really liked it, and neither of us liked it.
Yeah.
And we were like annoyed, and we were like, we gotta say something.
Yeah, and then another guy I worked with, his name is Drake. I remember he just loved it. He raved about it, and I was like, I can't understand this. Did you like the movie
Love
Split?
the movie.
You love the movie Split?
Yeah.
See, I hated it.
The thing with Split is that the reviews are always split.
They're very split. But what was interesting about it is, we did the writing, and then very quickly, I think after we had written Three Guys Having a Good Time, or while we had done it, that's when we were like, hey, we should start putting these ideas down. And we did the podcast as just audio. Like, I remember being at your dad's apartment and going into your room and sitting on the bed like crisscross applesauce with
little boys on the bed
with a microphone between us, and we had like bullet points, and I was like, all right, let's see how much we can get out, and it would be like these half-hour chunks.
There were half-hour
and it was like hard for us to like keep the conversation going because we didn't know what the hell we were doing. And then after 9 of those, then we interviewed Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah.
And then we literally just decided at one point, like, oh, the audio is kind of dumb. Let's just let's do a real podcast.
Yeah.
And then from there it evolved into a little bit of skits here and there, and it was kind of a catch-all folder, which the channel still kind of is in a lot of ways.
That's right.
But there was very much less organized.
Yeah.
And we would do like the occasional vlog, the occasional interview, the occasional podcast, and then we kind of started streamlining it. And COVID really made our channel more active because like we would post something here and there every few months. And then it got to a point where I had gotten laid off from my job at Uber.
Yeah.
And
I got laid off from my job.
You got laid off from your job. Where were you working?
Allegro School for Music. I was a music teacher. I'd actually just got it. I was like a month in. Yeah.
Wow. What was it called?
Allegro.
Allegro. I thought you said lay girls. I was like,
Lay girls.
You were a stripper.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
Lay girls.
Educator.
Educator. All right. But and we said, hey, we have all this found time. And, I remember it got like severance from the job and everything. I was like, okay, we can stay afloat for a tiny bit. Let's dedicate some time to this channel. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how it blossomed.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Good.
You're the 5th guest on the podcast.
Sweet, yeah.
And I think, if I remember right, I think this is our 40th podcast.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think it's 40th, yeah.
Cool.
The 40th and the 5th.
Yeah.
That was nice. Well, good question.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the thingamajig here. The first one, I have actually heard about this. Ridiculous. Man detained after throwing cake at the Mona Lisa, not a copy, the actual one.
Yeah.
And it was in the name of like
saving the
climate change.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Doesn't
so much
make sense.
security.
I know, it's insane. There's like pictures of him. He rolled in like in a wheelchair, dressed up like a little old lady, and then he like
Smart.
had a cake under his
Smart.
dress, I guess.
Yep.
And then he got up and was like, "Lay planet," and threw it
That
out.
would be the move. Yeah.
That's a good move.
I went to go see the Mona Lisa
You
at
saw
the
the Mona
Louvre
Lisa?
when I was in Europe, and very, very disappointed. It was so tiny,
Really?
so small.
It's tiny. Really?
Like, what the
See,
hell?
I
What is
imagine
this?
the Mona Lisa being yay bigger than this, just a little bigger.
It was, yeah.
A little, I would say.
Okay.
I would
It's that
say-
size.
Okay, that's
But
not
it's
bad.
in this giant room with like
Right.
100 people in front of it, and
Yeah.
it's like a room dedicated to the Mona Lisa. And the Louvre is amazing. It's got these
Right,
giant
yeah.
statues everywhere. I'm
Yeah.
like walking around, like cool. We're all right, ready to go see the Mona
That's in
Lisa.
France, right?
You walk in, yeah. You walk into the room, huge room, tiny little picture, and you can like kind of see it. You like take a picture.
And then you got all the people taking pictures
Exactly.
in front of it.
And you're like, this is kind of very anticlimactic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I heard it had been stolen in the early 1900s.
Really?
And gone for like 2 years in some dude's bathroom. Then they got it back. And I'm like, how'd they get it back? I want to know.
His bathroom.
I want to
It's
know.
not up in his bathroom.
Yeah, it was in his bathroom. Jeez, yeah. Correct me if I'm
And
wrong.
this came in and brought it back.
I don't know how they got it back, honestly.
That's an interesting.
But it was like stolen in a bathroom. Like someone was at a party and peeing. And you're like, yeah, Mona Lisa. Like for years. Like
That's crazy.
yeah. I'd like to see that in a Midnight in Paris type movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Midnight in Paris. That was a good movie.
You ever see Midnight in Paris?
No.
Add
Put it
it
on
to
the list.
I'll add it to your list.
All right, here's another one. This is just your subject line. Is it racist or just a bad character?
Ooh. So let me preface this a little bit. I have yet to watch the new Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus. Haven't watched it, but I'm very curious. Have you watched it yet?
No,
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
So anyway, fill us in, and then we'll talk about it.
Star Wars defends Kenobi's Reva actor after racist backlash. The official Star Wars Twitter account comes out in defense of Obi-Wan Kenobi star Moses Ingram after the actor received racist abuse online. There is no room in the fandom for this. Uncalled for. Okay, so yeah, I did hear about this. Ewan McGregor made a statement that went on the official Star Wars Twitter saying that she had received numerous DMs on her Instagram about how she's just like racist remarks and stuff randomly.
Yeah.
And now I guess she should like quit acting, blah blah blah. Which first, man, I'm really hesitant to say one way or the other.
I haven't watched the show yet.
I believe that I haven't watched it either. I believe that there are obviously still people out there that would do that kind of thing within the Star Wars community. Weird, just weird.
Yeah.
If that's true, it's just
Well,
fucking.
here's my
bizarre.
thing. They let every kind of weirdo into the cantina under
Yeah,
the sun.
yeah.
You got a black woman. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we've had black characters before. It was what's the big deal? Yeah, Mace Windu is so fucking cool.
Mace Windu's one of the best.
And then the new guy from the new movies. Like, there's always
Finn.
it's fine. Yeah.
Finn,
And then there's like
Blue people, green people.
exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems weird.
What I think it is I think at the end of the day, most people I've talked to don't like that character.
No,
So I think
yeah.
whenever the character gets heavy criticism and the actress gets heavy criticism, they have to hide behind another reason. Like it couldn't possibly be because it's a shitty character. It must be racist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I kind of feel
Yeah.
like that might be what it is, but I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
And I will say, I usually make snap judgments about these sorts of things, and I kind of knew I wasn't gonna like it. But that's mainly because she's supposed to be Darth Vader's like apprentice.
Oh, really?
Right? And there was already in The Force Unleashed. You've seen a little bit of that game. I played it when you were over.
It was great.
Yeah, so cool. Starkiller. He was the original apprentice under the.
I know.
He's like the perfect. That game has such a beautiful story. He's the perfect character.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's so good. And since she's just kind of taken the place of that, I'm immediately like a little sour.
Yeah.
And
it feels like a very Disney move. It's
yeah.
like, you know, not to be shitty, but it seems almost like we need a strong female lead, throw her in there.
Yeah.
And it's like, she could be great, but it sounds like a lot of people don't like her.
Yeah.
Right?
No, it is, because they're trying to prop her up almost equal to Ewan, which is a big mistake.
Tough
Because
to
it's
do,
called Kenobi. Like, it should be about him, and they're really trying to, like, put her equal next to him.
Yeah.
And,
I don't like the characters you're not super familiar with either, but
yeah.
I'll have to watch it and see. I know Enrique was telling me, one of my buddies at work, he was telling me that it's good to watch it in twos. He said, so like watch it as like its own little trilogy. He said like watch 1 and 2, watch 3 and 4, watch 5 and 6 for the episodes. Mm-hmm. And he said that's like a good way to like digest it. And I'm like, all right, I might watch it like that. But I feel like anything Disney Star Wars, like I'm a lot more critical. It's like
I don't think I will.
they've really tarnished the name and made it just more crappy.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, Mandalorian hated it.
Yeah.
Thank you. And most people are like, how could you?
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's just not Star Wars.
Yeah, it's not.
It doesn't feel authentic.
It's the animation or something. It's just off.
It feels off. Yeah,
I agree.
Everything I've watched that I tried into The Mandalorian. I only watched for Bill Burr. I think I talked about this like years ago. It's like I never followed up because it didn't interest me.
Yeah.
It's like I watched it and I'm like, this is not like the prequels. This is not like
I
the
forced
original.
myself through The Mandalorian because everybody's like, yeah, it's so good.
Yeah,
and I'm like, fine.
I
I'll
gave
force
up
myself through.
Yeah, it just.
Yeah.
I've said it a million times and I'll say it again. I know some of the people in the comments wanted more Star Wars talk, so here it is.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll do a Star Wars episode one of these days. But I feel like the new Star Wars with Disney is Star Wars projects made by people who don't understand Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, it's just
the money grab.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Money grab. Took the words from my mouth. Money grab.
And earlier we were talking about like the meaning of things. That's kind of what I think is missing from a lot of these new Star Wars. Like the original Star Wars had such a beautiful story with a lot of meaning you can draw from different aspects of the story, and none of these have any of that. It's just like shit happens, boom, there you go.
Yeah.
Lightsaber, blaster.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
A character you don't care about that looks like something from the CW. You're
Right.
Like, what is this? What is
And they don't even, I talked about it in the last podcast, but I'll just briefly mention it, like they don't even understand the characters at all.
Yeah.
Like Boba Fett, they had to do
We want
Fett
Boba
stuff.
Fett backstory, and then they're just like going on this whole other storyline, and you're like, I don't want that. I want to know about him.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. And it seems like the edge had really been taken out of it.
Oh yeah. Boba Fett's
Like,
supposed to be like a
this should
cold,
be
ruthless killer, and then you're like this jokey, sweet guy.
He's somebody.
Not a sweet guy.
Yeah.
Bounty hunter.
Yeah, exactly.
I want bounty hunter. I don't want babysitter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what they want to give us.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I remember a similar thing happened with Rose Tico, that Asian woman.
Yeah.
And I think it was a similar situation. She was just a bad character.
It's boring.
Yeah.
No one cares about Rose Tico. They're like, it must be racism. I'm like, I think it's bad writing.
Yeah.
And bad character choice.
You're right. It's got to be the shoes. Why are Scottsdale nightclubs prohibiting retro sneakers?
Yeah,
I saw that article headline. I didn't look at it, but that was kind of weird.
Let's take a look. Yes, I thought this was kind of interesting.
Nightclubs in Scottsdale, unlike most clubs in Phoenix or Tempe, often require a second form of identification. After the doorman's flashlight shines over the driver's license, it beams on the shoes of those waiting in line. They've never done that to me. I've worn like river shoes and shit. Yeah. Old Town, the city's vibrant shopping, nightclub, and restaurant district, attracts patrons, both local and out of town, every day of the week. At the northern end of Old Town, a U-shaped street is one of the Valley's most popular clubs, where we go. Mm-hmm. During the afternoon, most of these establishments serve as family-friendly brunch spots. By night, security guards dressed in black guard the doors. As the booze flows, the amp pumps, and the crowd gets into the groove. Okay, you don't have to paint the picture, just tell me what's happening. With the nighttime atmosphere comes a short set of rules. Patrons must be 21 to enter. They have to abide by the dress code. These guidelines are synonymous with after dark fun, but some clubbers are upset with one set of code. Footwear policies specifically regarding retro basketball sneakers. It's not even a secret, security guard Jordan Baines said. The locals, we know. All the out-of-towners get a surprise, and people who don't go out often, they don't know. Some clubs prohibit Jordans. Those are... why? Others ban Jordans and Nike Air Force Ones. All employee security guards all employ security guards to scan every foot that goes past the red rope. Many clubgoers say the enforcement seems arbitrary. It seems that way to me.
Seems odd, yeah.
Raising deeper questions about racial, cultural diversity. I don't think it has anything to do with that.
No.
Motivation.
They want it to be about that.
Yeah.
Weird.
Must be racist.
Is this meant to discourage black patrons? I do not think so, but it's odd.
Yeah.
Why?
Still.
Yeah. Why? That doesn't even make sense.
I thought it was a joke article, honestly.
Yeah.
When I was scrolling through that, I found that on Facebook. I
Yeah.
thought it was like Babylon B or like The Onion or something.
Yeah.
Because it sounded so weird, but apparently.
I mean, I could understand if they're like, be fancy and just wear dress shoes, but that's not the case. So I don't know why there must be more to it.
Yeah, I've worn shit. I've worn like cargo shorts and
Yeah.
slip-on Vans.
I've been very casual, especially
Yeah.
when it's after Sunday Fun Day and you go there and go swimming at like Maya Day Club, and then everyone's just like dressed super casual, and you go to like across the street and people are like, "Well, you're dressed super casual, obviously. Come on in." So that's weird.
It's odd.
It's weird. There must be more to it.
And those particularly the Air Force Ones and the Jordans, those are like sought after shoes. Like those are expensive. They're nice. People like them.
What I find weird in that article is like, is this meant to discourage black patrons? That doesn't even make sense. What year is this?
Yeah.
Doesn't even make sense.
I don't know, man. I got nothing.
And I would say most of the Jordans would be like, there's a lot of, girls now that wear those too.
A lot of the girls are wearing the Air Force Ones.
Yeah.
That's super popular.
Yeah.
That's crossed the gender line for sure.
Yeah.
The Jordans is basketball community. So that can be the African American community more because there is a higher percentage of that that are in basketball.
I'm wearing Air Jordans right now.
I don't think they would discourage this. This is different.
Yeah, these are more cash.
Those are your cash Jordans.
These are more cash.
It's not your retro basketball shoes.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't wear those on the court.
Yeah.
I think they're talking about like the court shoes.
I saw something interesting on The Last Dance when Michael Jordan was promoting his original Jordans back in the day. Did you see The Last Dance?
I watched, I think 5 episodes in or something.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Did you see the bit where he, as like a publicity stunt, he wore his Jordans during a real game? And this was like early on. We're talking like 1986 or something.
Well, this one they like died in the Jordans.
So he was basically, he tore his feet up so bad when he took them off at halftime, filled with blood. So they didn't have the proper insulation to be playing basketball in them. But he played at least half a game of basketball in them for real, and it like tore his feet up.
Ouch.
Oh, so much for Jordans.
Yeah.
Like, I can't get a new deal.
Yeah.
At least back in the old ones. Yeah.
That is weird. I don't have any conclusions to draw from that.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
The one thing that sticks out to me is the fact that they're popular, like high demand, really expensive shoes. Yeah. But I don't know why that
seems weird that they would even care about dress code.
Yeah.
Some girls go in there wearing nothing.
But that's what they want, right?
We like
So
that.
they have like the women free every other night, blah blah blah.
Free the nipple.
Yeah. All right. What's this one? Watch Norm Macdonald versus Neil deGrasse Tyson on YouTube. Is this the Twitter exchange?
No. So what this is? Oh, well, it probably is that.
Yeah.
But very recently, fairly new account I think they're like under 500 subscribers. Very new account. Check them out. It's called AI Norm Macdonald. And basically, someone's compiling his tweets, and they've created an AI voice that sounds just like Norm.
Right. Yeah.
And it reads his tweets, and I'm like, that's a cool concept.
Yeah.
That's a cool concept. Yeah. So
Someone did that with I think Jordan Peterson.
Really?
And then they made him. They had it do like a vulgar rap. It was hilarious.
That's funny.
And I don't know what happened. It got taken down. I think Jordan Peterson was angry. And
Jordan's like,
yeah. But it was so
What
funny.
do you think this is?
Yeah. Right. So all right, let's check this out.
I've been eating nothing but meats for 3 years.
And they did have a really cool Twitter exchange.
The universe is blind to our sorrows and indifferent to our pain.
This is the Twitter
Have a
exchange.
nice day.
Neil, there is a logic flaw in your little aphorism that seems quite telling. Since you and I are part of the universe, then we would also be indifferent and uncaring. Perhaps you forgot, Neil, that we are not superior to the universe, but merely a fraction of it. Nice day indeed.
Yeah, that exchange is so fucking good.
It is funny, yeah.
Norm is such a smart guy.
Yes.
It's beyond funny. It's like, it's true.
Yeah.
You really like schooled him. And it's sick to school Neil deGrasse Tyson.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think there's even a rebuttal.
No, yeah.
What I find intriguing about it, and people have said this a gazillion times on podcasts, but that's because it's true. Comedians are like the modern day philosophers.
Really are,
and that's that's out there, you know. And it's like you get someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's like this modern day scientist and in some ways a philosopher himself.
I don't like him.
And
he annoys me a little bit.
He's all over the place.
Yeah.
He's all over the place. He's very like celebrity at this point.
Yeah. Well, that's what a comic's job is. It's to like see everything, analyze it, and find what's funny about that and extract that. So they're constantly studying everything. So they're like able to like bring those things like, oh, I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't think about it because you're not studying everything.
Right.
You're
Exactly.
just passing it by because you're not looking for the exact thing.
It's true.
I was listening to Rob Lowe's podcast. He has a really good one, and he was talking to God, who was the last one I listened to? Topher Grace. He was talking to Topher Grace from that 70s show, and he was saying of all the people he's worked with, especially his time like hosting Saturday Night Live and stuff, he said all the truly, truly funny people that really cracked him up were always very intelligent people.
Yeah.
He said very rarely would you meet a very fun comedian or anyone like that who wasn't also very bright.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that really applies to Norm Macdonald.
It's like the goofiness you almost equate to being stupid, but it's not. It's
Yeah,
like
the
they're
opposite,
goofy,
yeah.
but you're like, no, they're super intelligent.
It's like when Norm would like deliberately mispronounce words and things like that, where you're like, he knows exactly what he's doing. Right.
By the way, I tried to watch his last special, and it was hard to watch.
It was so
man.
good, man.
It was good. It was hard to watch.
It was hard to watch.
You
Yeah,
could tell
it was emotional.
Yeah.
And there were a few times, like they said in there, like, did you watch the end?
No, I didn't watch it all because we were watching it for brunch, and people had to go. But
At the end, there, I won't tell you too much, but there's a bunch of his peers, like David Spade and Conan O'Brien,
I saw that Conan was there.
Chappelle, and I'm trying to think who else was there. I can't remember, but Letterman was there, and they were saying like Norm knew exactly what he was doing, and he would also kind of touch on it. There were a few moments in there where he kind of alluded to death and life after death and all that kind of stuff, and he knew it was coming.
Yeah, at that point for sure.
Yeah.
That's why the whole setup was so like jury rigged.
Yeah.
He was just like, I'm about to die. I'm gonna do this now.
Yeah. Did you
crazy.
watch it? Because Norm
No.
Macdonald released a comedy special costume.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta give it a chance because it's like, at least for me, it was uncomfortable at first because you could tell. I mean, it's just
You
like a
could watch him
webcam, and then he's just like there. It's so like on the fly.
Yeah.
Because he's about to die.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
And it was tricky too because at the time he recorded it, it was still like I think almost a year before he had died when he actually recorded it.
Yeah.
But he couldn't get into either A, it was his health, or B, COVID restrictions.
Yeah.
So he couldn't get into these clubs to get a big enough show to record the special. So his idea was with his manager, let's just get it on video just in case. And
then there you go.
Yeah.
Man.
What a gift, though, man.
Yeah.
What a gift to
Yeah.
the fans.
Mm.
Like, he didn't have to do that.
Right.
He was a very brave guy. He was just a cool.
He was a brave
guy.
guy. One of the
He
best.
was also very religious, from what I've heard. Yeah.
I think from my understanding, he had cancer for like 8 years before he died. I think that was his really come to the light moment where he's like, let's figure it out.
That'll do it.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. But he was one of the best, and I was really happy I got to see him live a few times, and never got to meet him. That would have been amazing. But it's kind of cool not to meet your heroes, though. Yeah, they kind of always stay on that pedestal.
Yeah. I still think you should read his autobiography.
I did.
Did you? Oh, yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah. It's so because that kind of illuminates a lot. I mean,
it's kind of a joke of an autobiography, though.
Yeah, but it has its dark moments too.
It does,
yeah.
But then as you continue on, he almost makes a mockery of
It gets,
a biography.
surreal. And,
it gets surreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very
I would
weird.
say the first third is really like, oh, this is legit, and then you're like, oh, he's just messing with us.
Yeah, like as soon as he's grown up and he meets his buddy and they go off, then like
it gets like
crazy.
fictional.
Yeah.
But then there's the stuff as a kid. I think it was real.
Yeah, the stuff as a kid was real.
Yeah, where I'm like, I don't think he's lying, and he kind of touched on it a little bit in his special too. You can kind of there were a few little elements in there where I'm like, ooh, wait a minute,
Jesus, yeah.
Wait a minute, I think that was real.
That's some dark stuff.
Some dark stuff, yeah. The squirrel man.
Yeah.
The squirrel.
Do you know about what we were talking about?
Yeah.
I think we talked about it on a podcast before, but he was like, I think essentially molested or like full on raped by his uncle when he was a kid.
Yeah.
And
then I also wonder, when I read that, I'm also like thinking of Norm. Was he? Yeah, but I think he really was.
I think he really was.
But then there's a part of me where I'm like, you never know with
There
Norm.
was some-
but that's kind of how he wants it.
Yeah, there was some obscure interview where he was like, because he like loved the guy before it happened.
Yeah.
And he was like, he explains like, yeah, he took me into the shed or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he says he forgot like the next 2 years of his life after that.
Horrifying.
Yeah, because he just like his brain just like, broke from that fucking experience.
Poor Norm.
Yeah. So. Woo, yeah.
Well, I'm glad he was able to overcome his adversity.
And that's another thing. It's like high intelligence, and it's nine times out of 10 a lot of like tragedy that these comedians come from.
Another one like that who had like a horrific, like tons of abuse growing up and a horrible thing was Drew Carey.
Yeah.
And then Drew Carey became like this comedic icon, you know, and happy-go-lucky guy. But I think for him, he had like, you'd have to look it up, but it was like pretty bad. He went through some like really bad stuff. Yeah, so good for him overcoming it, you know?
Yeah.
Crazy. Gotta love Drew Carey.
I do.
Who are some of your favorite comedians while we're on the comedian?
Yeah, I haven't watched a whole lot, but I mean, I've told you guys I listen to Joe Rogan all the time.
Joe Rogan's
so
great.
I love his stuff. But
He's awesome.
some of you guys might not know Christian comedian or like grew up in the Christian Tim Hawkins.
Tim
I don't know if
Hawkins.
you know
Okay.
Tim Hawkins.
The name
but-
sounds familiar. But
Yeah, he's like older.
Well, Tim Hawkins. Let's see.
He's older now, but he has a podcast as well. So he does that with his family.
Cool.
So super cool podcast. He's a super funny guy.
Podcasts were possibly the best thing to happen to stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Almost ever, aside from the actual art form itself of performing stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Because it's like amazing. You get this long-form stream of consciousness that you don't get anywhere else. And it's the best, dude. I was listening to Tiger Belly, and it was Bobby Lee and Kalila, his girlfriend, and David Spade.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, where else would you get to hear these people riff like this for 2 hours? You know?
Yeah.
Just like, and Joe Rogan's like the pinnacle of that.
Right.
You get these people talking. What I love about Rogan is it'll be like, he'll have someone like Bert Kreischer on, and then you have someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Right.
Or
Elon Musk.
Like, fill in the blank.
Insane
or he'll have
people.
some, you know, historian that comes on that's super niche, and he's just like,
Right.
I like this guy.
Just
I'm
so
gonna have
many
him on.
niches.
I love that. I absolutely love that. That's true. I actually don't recognize him. I don't recognize him.
He does a lot of parodies.
Okay.
Like just
He's,
funny stuff.
pretty good, though?
Yeah, pretty good. He has like a Chick-fil-A song. He has
Okay.
like a, you
He's
know.
a musician as well?
Yeah, he does the piano with parodies on stage
That's
and
cool.
everything.
Sweet, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Does like a Piano Man kind of like parody and stuff. A lot of different things. So
Shout out
yeah.
to Tim Hawkins.
Yeah, cool guy.
All right, man. Well, any closing thoughts before you pack your bags and fly off to Kenya?
No, I appreciate you guys having me. This has been fun. My
Of
first
course.
podcast, so
Hell
that's
yeah.
cool.
Welcome aboard, man.
Love to,
Yeah, this is awesome.
Keep watching it and see
Please
what you guys
do,
are
please
doing.
do.
That's awesome.
And
Load it onto your flash drive later.
Yeah. Watch some of the pods.
Yeah.
Definitely links below, guys.
Yeah.
Support Paul on his journey. If you guys want to donate to his cause, link below.
Sure.
And also, if you want to check out his now blossoming or about to blossom YouTube channel,
Sure.
which I hope will have lots of Kenyan
Yeah,
vlogs
that's what
on
we're
it.
hoping for.
We want some travel vlogs. Because, dude, I mean,
Yeah.
think how cool that is.
That would be cool.
You could literally vlog leaving America, going to Kenya.
Yeah.
People eat that stuff up, and you
Yeah.
could really, I mean, you could get your message out another way, too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely
Link that below too.
give him some love down below. Paul's YouTube channel. It's just called Paul Kary.
Yep.
Right? Check it out. And yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
Awesome.
We appreciate you. All right, guys. Like, subscribe, and most importantly, remain unfazed. Thanks for watching.
That's good. Thank you guys.
Good.
Yeah. Awesome.